You mentioned you've had the same roster since the beginning, and I remember first seeing you guys just run roughshod over like the one hit club tournaments. Do you guys think that this roster is going to be staying together for a while? And you mentioned the versatility you have too, which has clearly helped you out today. I mean, do you think you're going to be staying together for a while? And if so, what is it about this roster that makes you guys work so well together?
Well, one of the things that makes the roster work so well is about 3 or 4 of these guys have been playing games together for like at least 3 years plus. So any team problems you have, like teammates getting mad at each other, they've already been through it, so you can't really have that happen in your team. So that also helps. We just coordinate well together. Everyone's good at their roles and they can play a versatile hero pool. So I don't think we're gonna change rosters anytime soon because it's working right now.
And, you know, I think for C9, you guys sort of came together sort of impromptu, and then things sort of worked together. You look around you at the Overwatch scene, and it's just sort of death and mayhem for all the other teams. I mean, every team you can think of has had massive roster changes. Even the once, you know, unstoppable IDDQD, they've hit rough times. What has been the secret to you guys staying together aside from just winning? Is it just winning, or is there something extra with the chemistry that you guys have?
It's probably just the chemistry. We're real good friends. So we know even through thick and thin, even if we're losing, we just have to see why we're losing and readjust for it and just play to our strengths.
Now, the creative moniker has been thrown out both in actual praise and in false praise here, just kind of how you guys win with some interesting strats. Is that something you really work on where, you know, maybe in a little bit of less serious scrims, you'll try out new stuff all the time? Are you constantly trying to craft on how to break the meta and how to add new compositions, or is it just something that happens organically?
Yeah, that's usually what we do, not to be rude, but on lower end teams that we scrim, we usually try and get creative and experiment with certain comps, and if it really works really well against them, we'll try it against higher level teams, and then we'll see how that works out. And if it's working good, we'll try it in a tournament. That's how that El Presidente strat you guys said came about in Route 66.
El Presidente.
We tried it against the team, and we were like half the time our teammates just say it trollingly, like, hey, what if we just do this? And then it just ends up working, kind of like the double Zenyatta, double Tracer, Symmetra time we had.
Got it.
And then they'll note, sometimes it gets used against you. Like, you guys sort of brought Bastion back into it, and then sort of the idea that teams in the game really do look at what other teams do and adapt. You end up playing LG on King of the Hill on Lijiang, and suddenly Seagull comes out the Bastion versus your double Winston strategy, which up until that point, people weren't really doing all that well against. Like, oh, wait a second. Bastion is a thing.
We weren't, that was a pretty good surprise pick. No one's really done it against us before, so it worked really well, but it just goes to show, even when you have all these dual comps, there's always something you can put in the wrench to it. You just have to be willing to like try stuff.
Now, I wanted you to talk a little bit just about how the North American scene is right now, because obviously people look at Luminosity Gaming and they think they're kind of second overall, you guys of course being at the top, but can you maybe tell us teams that like you end up playing against, or maybe who you respect or who you're afraid of, just your general thoughts on the rest of the North American scene?
I think the only team we would be necessarily afraid of would be LG. I don't think the rest of the NA teams are quite getting there, but I think the new roster of Coolmat and their team, right now they're just called the Overwatch team. I think they'll be pretty good once they start playing in tournaments again, so it's going to be good to look out for them. I think Team Liquid will get pretty good if they finalize their roster and just iron out all the kinks. But yeah, LG is the only one that's really up there right now.
There's rumors of Envious moving to North America, being Tailspin and the remainders of IDDQD. What do you think about that?
I mean, it won't really matter unless they're going on online tournaments, because if it's a LAN tournament, they're going to have to go there anyways, but that'll be cool for them. Live in NA and not worry about ping differences in online tournaments. Or do you mean, are we going to
I was just general thoughts. ZP, any more questions? Well, I mean, like, you know, because we'll see when more tournaments get region locked that they'll be part of the NA scene. Just kind of what your thoughts were on having to face them more often without being like across tournaments.
Well, I don't think I'm too worried about them. They were really strong with Mendo and Tvik, but they kind of don't they lose to Reunited or lost in the Overkill anyways?
Yeah.
So
Yes, they did.
They did.
I think Reunited is really strong, so I don't think we're that worried about them.
Did Reunited surprise you with how strong they came out here today? And also,
yeah,
how much
definitely.
did servers have to do with the games? Were the games just simply back and forth by consequence, and the servers, were a minor factor, or were the servers a huge factor? Because that was one of the big storylines over time.
I think the servers were like a medium factor. I mean, on EU servers, I had 180 plus ping,
Oof.
and that kind of sucks. You have delayed damage and dying around corners all the time. But yeah, they did surprise us how well they played, because we 3-1 them both in the ONAV tournament, in the winners finals and grand finals. So we thought it was just going to be at least 5-1, but they really put it to us, especially on Dorado.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that Dorado game? Because we mentioned
like, that was a source of contention, and then some.
Well, it all started off of too easy getting that pick on Reaver, so then they were allowed to do that 5v6, and then the rest of the story was pretty much them having ults every team fight, so they just snowballed the hell out of us, and we had to switch to double monkey.
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
Yeah, the Lucio ults and the Reinhardt's ult just got us. They got some really good ults on us.
I was trying to remember a time where I've seen you guys been defeated like that, and I couldn't think of one. Is that the worst you've ever been defeated on a map?
Yep, I think so.
Yeah, and of course, the interesting stuff is that I don't think teams get put on tilt too much, but they did come out the world record stuff, and you guys sort of held that for several maps, and then you come back, later on the series after getting a big win of your own. You're just like, it just exploded. Everyone on your team came out with it.
That's just the way they are. They like, if you do it to us, we're gonna do it to you. I necessarily don't do it. I try and keep calm, but it was pretty funny when they were doing it. They were just going off on them. So they love doing that shit.
All right, so we're sort of heading to the end here. I think we've covered a lot of relevant ground. Surefour, you have any final things you want to say? Any shout-outs, any selling out, any props you want to give? All the rest, the floor is yours, my friend.
Props to my teammates and Team Reunited. We all played great, but we did end up winning. Shout-outs to all Cloud9 sponsors. You can look at me and Reaver's streams at Twitch TV Surefour and TEH Reaver to Reaver when we decide to stream. I'll probably be streaming sometime after the tourney, after I get something to eat and calm down a bit. But that's all I got.
Congratulations, man. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you then.
Alrighty, guys, that was Surefour.